So with the release of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, we got a ton of new content to explore for D&D 5e, some of which I've already discovered in the form of the Dark Gifts and the new subclasses, but another thing that we have to explore is some of the new lineages that have been added in the form of the Vampiric, the Hex Blood, and the Reborn. So this is going to be a short video discussing each of those, so without too much further ado, let's just get on into it. So obviously since the release of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, the entire race system has seen a massive overhaul to the game. Now Wizards of the Coast seem to be releasing things in the form of Lineages, which is kind of a more dramatic take on the whole race system. It's much less rigid, much more fluid. It's able to give you a lot more granularity in how you actually have created your character and where they're from. So we're going to take a quick look at each of the three new ones here. Something that is going to be true for all these is how you assign ability score improvements based on the lineage you choose. The way that things have been working now with Tasha's Cauldron, all the new ones, you are able to do a +2 to one skill and a +1 to another one, or you're able to actually split them up and give +1 to three separate ability scores. So again, that will be the case for all three of these, so we're not going to go into that with each one. So reading the blurb on the Dhampir, it says, poised between the worlds of the living and the dead, Dhampirs retain their grip on life, yet are endlessly tested by vicious hungers. Their ties to the undead grant Dhampirs a taste of a vampire's deathless prowess in the form of increased speed, dark vision, and a life-draining bite. So you can kind of imagine a Dhampir to be, you could obviously be a vampire, but it could also be any kind of a dark creature or a dark origin character that has some kind of feral hunger, and it's always sort of pushed towards this desire for something. It's really, really interesting, really spooky, and I kind of love it. So the book does give a lot of additional insight into the various different planes or origins for your character, or the different hungers that they might be striving after, but we're just going to kind of focus on some of the features here. So let's just move on to that. So looking at Dhampir traits, it says the creature type, you're a humanoid, obviously just important to know because of specific spell effects and those kinds of things. Size says you're medium or small, you can choose when you gain this lineage. So this does kind of go back to what I was saying before, you get a little bit of extra granularity in the origin, the actual creation of your character. Speed, you get a walking speed of 35 feet, which is nice, that's a little bit extra, kind of moving back to that vampire motif of really, really quick and fluid movement. Next it says Ancestral Legacy. If you replace a race with this lineage, you can keep the following elements of that race or any skill proficiencies you gain from it, and any climbing, flying, or swimming speed you gain from it. If you don't keep any of those elements, or if you choose this lineage at character creation, you gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. So this is going to be essentially the same for all three of these, so I'm not going to go over for each one, but really what this means is that if you were already in a campaign, you had already chosen a race and you wanted to switch over to the Dhampir, you do have the opportunity to keep some of the skill proficiencies and some of the other abilities you have, the flying speed, languages, things like that. Alternatively, if you're creating a brand new character and you're choosing the Dhampir, you get to start with any 2 skill proficiencies that you want, which is pretty sweet. Next it says we get 60 feet of dark vision, which is awesome. A ton of different races and lineages do also offer dark vision, so it's not that unique, but it's great that it's there. Deathless nature, you don't need to breathe. Very interesting, can come in handy in really specific circumstances. Obviously, it's not one of those things that really is going to matter a ton, but it's really cool that that exists there. Spider climb, you have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. In addition, at 3rd level, you can move down and across vertical surfaces and upside down along ceilings while leaving your hands free. Really cool feature. You kind of effectively getting the effect of the spider climb spell, and you get that 3rd level, which is really kind of interesting for like kind of a, you get your like gated features for a race or for a lineage. That's really cool stuff. Lastly, you get a feature called Vampiric Bite. It says your Fanged Bite is a natural weapon, which counts as a simple melee weapon with which you are proficient. You add your Constitution modifier instead of your Strength to the attack and damage rolls when you attack with this bite. It deals 1d4 piercing damage on a hit. While you are missing half or more of your hit points, you have advantage on the attack rolls made with this bite. When you attack with this bite and hit a creature that isn't a construct or an undead, you can empower yourself in one of the following ways of your choice. You regain hit points equal to the piercing damage dealt by the bite. You gain a bonus to the next ability check or attack roll you make. The bonus equals your piercing damage dealt by the bite. You can empower yourself with this bite a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended use when you finish a long rest. So this is really cool. Honestly, I just love the fact that you're adding your Constitution modifier to the bite attack. I think it's really cool. It really, really embodies and emphasizes the fact that it's like it's your own like kind of lifeblood. It's your vitality that's propelling you forward. That's able to have this profound impact on the ability, on the attack, on this bite. It's your lifeblood just forcing you into doing it. It's not just like you kind of attacking something. It's more of like an uncontrollable urge. And I think that's really, really cool. In terms of the empowering, honestly, these are just really nice bonuses to have. Being able to have some form of natural healing. Obviously, it's limited to your proficiency bonus, which is another thing that I think is really cool, because that will continue to scale up over time as you level up. Also, being able to add bonuses to an ability check based on the piercing damage which you empower is just super cool. It can really come in clutch. It's kind of like your own personal bardic inspiration. Overall, I think the Dampier is really cool. I'm excited to play one, or to have one of my characters play one. It's awesome. I love it. All right, moving on to the Hex Blood, we'll read the blurb here. It says, where wishing fails, ancient magic can offer a heart's desire, at least for a time. Hexbloods are individuals infused with eldritch magic, fey energy, and mysterious witchcraft. Some who enter into bargains with hags gain their deepest wishes, but eventually find themselves transformed. These changes evidence a hag's influence. Ears that split in forked points, skin in lurid shades, long hair that regrows if cut, and an irremovable living crown. Along with these marks, Hexbloods manifest hag-like traits such as dark vision and a variety of magical methods to beguile the senses and avoid the same. Really cool stuff here. Hags are actually one of my favorite creatures to play in the game. I love this idea of these kind of evil, manipulative creatures that are able to create these fascinating bargains that kind of prey on the weaknesses or the infatuations of certain people. I think it's really cool to kind of get a little bit of a flavor of that, to be able to have some kind of a remnant of that within your own character. Alright, so the Hex Blood Traits, the creature type, you are a Fey. Very interesting. Again, you can choose between medium or small. Your walking speed is 30 feet. Ancestral Legacy is the same as before, so I said we're not going to cover that. So Dark Vision, you have 60 feet once again of Dark Vision. Eerie Token. As a bonus action, you can harmlessly remove a lock of your hair, one of your nails, or one of your teeth. This token is imbued with magic until you finish a long rest. While the token is imbued in this way, you can take these actions. Telepathic Message. As an action, you can send a telepathic message to a creature holding or carrying the token, as long as you are within 10 miles of it. The message can contain up to 25 words. So it's kind of like the message spell. That's really cool, because you could potentially plant that onto a creature, onto an enemy, and be able to kind of communicate with it as long as you're within 10 miles, which is a pretty far radius. Alternatively, there are productive uses for your party. You could just give it to a certain member of your party to be able to, again, just communicate quickly and easily with them. But there's a lot of potential sinister uses for that too, and that's really cool. Remote Viewing. If you are within 10 miles of the token, you can enter a trance as an action. This trance lasts for 1 minute, but it ends early if you dismiss it, no action required, or if you're incapacitated. During this trance, you can see and hear from the token as if you were located where it is. While you are using your senses at the token's location, you are blinded and deafened in regard to your own surroundings. When the trance ends, the token is harmlessly destroyed. Once you create a token using this feature, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest, at which point your missing part regrows. So again, this really plays heavily into the hag flavor. You're able to kind of see and observe another creature without them having any idea necessarily that you're actually watching them. So you can really get a good, keen insight into their own deepest desires, and to be able to kind of manipulate them and play that against them. Again, this does also have some pretty significant utility for being able to potentially spy on an enemy, or as well just be able to look out for a party member. Really cool stuff. That's exciting. Alright, so last up we have the Reborn. Death isn't always the end. The Reborn exemplified this, being individuals who have died yet somehow still live. Some Reborn exhibit the scars of their fatal ends, their ashen flesh or bloodless veins making it clear that they've been touched by death. Other Reborn are marvels of magic or science, being stitched together from disparate beings or bearing mysterious minds in manufactured bodies. Whatever their origins, Reborn know a new life and seek experiences and answers all their own. This is a really interesting one. It's almost this idea of you're kind of like zombie-esque, but you're not really so mindless. It's you've come back to life in a sense to have some kind of a purpose, to create and do something all your own, and not just sort of live out your past once again. This is really cool. Alright, so let's dive into the traits here. Creature type, you're humanoid, again, medium or small. You have a walking speed of 30 feet, so like the Hex Blood as well. Ancestral Legacy is once again the same. Alright, so moving down to the deathless nature. says you have escaped death, a fact represented by the following benefits. You have advantage on saving throws against diseased and being poisoned, and you have resistance to poison damage. You have advantage on death saving throws. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. You can finish a long rest in 4 hours if you spend those hours in an inactive, motionless state, during which you retain consciousness. Those are some really cool and really flavorful abilities. I love the idea that you have advantage against disease and being poisoned, and resistance to even poison damage. Again, just, it's like, you're kind of like, yeah, I've been there, I've done that, I've died before, so I'm good with that. You know, and then again, you can see that exemplified in advantage on death saving throws. That's really cool. You know, it's like you've overcome this in the past before. You kind of know what to expect, so you can resist that a little bit better than most others can. Not needing to eat, drink, or breathe can actually just be mechanically very helpful if there's like some underwater, some gases, some poisonous gases that explode, that kind of radiate in a cavern. You don't need to do that, but also it's just kind of flavorful just to never have to focus or worry about those kinds of things. Having the ability to complete a long rest in 4 hours, yes, there's a lot of other races that can do that, but this is really, really cool stuff. Lastly, it says knowledge from a past life. You temporarily remember glimpses of the past, perhaps faded memories from ages ago or a previous life. When you make an ability check that uses a skill, you can roll a d6 immediately after seeing the number on the d20 and add the number to the d6 on the d6 to the check. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. That's really cool. It's a nice flavorful ability. Again, it's kind of like having your own personal bardic inspiration, but obviously it's limited to a d6 and limited to the amount of times you have for your proficiency bonus. But again, it's kind of like, you know, you're remembering how to do stuff from some kind of a past life from before you died, and you've come back and you have these faint glimpses that are able to give you additional insight on how to perform these tasks or use these skills in some way. It's really flavorful stuff. It's really cool. I'm a really big fan of the Reborn. I think that's probably my favorite one of the lot here. All right, so that's been it. That's been a look at the 3 new lineages that we were provided with in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you like this type of content, and please remember to like and subscribe. It does help. But otherwise, take care.